Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. It is exactly 14 after 9 o'clock. Welcome back. This is News and Views on Salam Media. And next online, we are going to be talking with Nana Lindiwe Kgiba. She is the Media Liaison Officer, Department of Public Safety. And the reason we're talking to her is we've once again heard about a fire at an informal settlement near Kwa Mai Mai, which left hundreds of residents homeless and sadly one person dead and others injured. And this is a regular occurrence in our country, very especially in the winter months and very especially when it is biting cold, as is the case today and in the following days. So, what do we need to know about safety at homes, informal settlements? How do we make our children and our loved ones aware to keep safe during this time? Nana Lindiwe Kgiba, a very good morning to you. Welcome to the program.
Good morning to you and good morning to the listeners.
Very sad situation, obviously, at Kwa Mai Mai, and undoubtedly, sad to say, won't be the first and the last. What do we say to our loved ones about safety, very especially people who are shack dwellers and people living in informal settlements? And when the biting cold sets in, what do we need to know?
Indeed, a very sad situation, which in our line of work, we know that around this time, it's like a fire spreading. It goes to different informal settlements. What needs to be done is that what we had found at Kwamai was that there was illegal connections of electricity. And that is very dangerous and without anyone thinking about it. That can cause any fire, and that fire can just spread. But what we've picked up in the past years was that as well, what we use for heating equipment, be it the kind of stove that we use, we must know that it must be a stove that when it falls over or anything happens, it's able to extinguish itself. And the candles. Many people like to leave candles unattended. We always go and educate people to have a candle, half of the candle or a quarter of a candle in a bottle. You just take an empty bottle of mayonnaise, put a quarter of soil, any soil that you get from anywhere, and just take that candle in and light it. If it falls, the soil will be able to extinguish it. If you close that mayonnaise cap, the light will go off. So those are small things that we can do. And also the heaters. We like to say the house would be warmer or the shack would be warmer if I leave the heater on. Do not leave any heating equipment unattended.
Okay, the other problem as well is those open fires that some people resort to, the coal and the anthracite fires, and simply because they can't afford anything else. How dangerous is that? And then some people also resort to leaving their paraffin little stoves on just to allow them a bit of heat in their shacks or in their informal settlements. Talk to us about the dangers of those methods of heating.
That's very dangerous because when we talk about open fires, there are blazes in Baula that people will take and put in the house, and it has smoke. Even if it's not the fire that would give you problems, but the smoke in itself. Some people will die from smoke inhalation. That will be dangerous. The paraffin stove, you find that you've opened it, you want to quickly go out and go buy something at the shop, and the paraffin stove might be next to a curtain or next to something that might catch fire, which is also dangerous. I always say when you want to use any heating device, use it whilst you are watching it and ensure that you are home and ensure that you are around. You don't even leave kids unattended with whatever that you're using at the time.
And if a family or a loved one is involved in an accident due to an open flame or fire breaking out or smoke inhalation, what would you advise the family members to do? Because oftentimes we go to very unorthodox methods, like, for example, if a child has been burned, I know of cases where the parents rub butter on the affected area, or try and cover the child up with some sort of medication and gauze. That actually worsens the situation, does it not? What ought we be doing when a loved one is a victim of burns, whether it's boiling water
Uh,
or an open fire?
we always say when it's open fire and there's fire on the clothes, try to let that person roll so that the fire would doze off. But what you can do is just to put on a damp towel on them and take them to hospital or the nearest clinic, because we do not know the depth of the fire. We can't just look and say the percentage of the fire. So it's important that we just put a damp cloth or a damp towel on them and take them to the nearest clinic.
Some people have also resorted to immersing the body into a tub of water. Would that also be a recommendation?
That's what we all do. When you get a little burn, then you have a tub of water. That's why I say a little a damp towel, even if it's a tub of, not a tub, but a damp towel that would be able to cool down the heat. But it is important, as I said, to take that person to hospital, because we can't just look at them and say this would be 30% burn or 20% burn, unless it's a burn that you get from a stove or what. You can just run water and just cool it off.
Okay, what other safety tips can you give us? Because undoubtedly, we are really, lots of children are left unattended at home because the moms and dads and the gogos go out to work or whatever it might be. And in a child's mind, they don't realize the dangers of trying to heat themselves, maybe, an open fire, switching on a lamp, whatever it is that they do. Some, even if they do have electric stoves in their homes, in the kitchens, they leave those elements on, thinking that that's going to heat up the home. But that too is pretty dangerous, is it not?
It is definitely dangerous. That's why I said any heating equipment that's unattended becomes very dangerous. I might just open a stove at home and not see that I've left a dishcloth or anything nearby that might catch fire. And you'd find the stove, it's not far from the kitchen, and that might cause just a spread of fire. So we have seen also in houses, in structural houses, that fires are mostly caused by stoves and heaters that are left unattended. So we do urge that parents as well do speak to their kids that if you go out or if you are not sitting on the heater, switch it off and make sure that you remove it from anything else.
So, Nana, I know that you are the media liaison officer at the Department of Public Safety. Um, are we creating awareness for children at school level? Because sometimes, despite how much of advice parents would give to the children and give them safety tips, they don't necessarily take it in. Are any of these type of awareness programs running at schools?
Yes, there are. We have a unit that is public information and education relations that would go to school, do programs like stop, drop, and roll. When my clothes catch fire, I need to stop, drop, and roll. What is it that they need to do in case of a fire? The fire, there would be smoke all over. They can crawl under the smoke. So they teach kids a whole lot of things of what to do when there's fire. We do visit different schools.
Okay, I've got about 2 or 3 minutes left before the end of this interview. For the sake of people who are not in the schooling system, let's just share some of those very important tips with them, please.
The one tip is that when there is a fire, usually what happens is that the smoke would be up and at the bottom, you would be the smoke would not be there. What you can do when you know where your exits are, where your exit points are, and you'll be able to go out. The most important thing is that you crawl and you don't walk through the smoke, because you'd have so much smoke inhalation, you would not be able to walk anymore. So crawling under the smoke and leading yourself to the exit point would be the best way. And as well, what we teach kids is that if your clothes catch fire, what we normally would do is that you'd want to run around. But if you stop, you cover your face, you drop, and you roll, then that fire would be put out.
You roll on the
So
ground,
while
obviously.
you roll on the ground, then that
Right.
fire would be put out.
Okay, fine. In terms of, I'm just thinking, you spoke about the damp towel, to put that on the area of your body where you've burned. But if there's a lot of smoke and you haven't burned as yet, the fire hasn't touched your body, could you use that damp towel against your nose and your mouth just to make breathing easier, or is that not recommended?
You can put that damp towel as well, but what we recommend is that you try to get out. Hence, I say the smoke will be above. Try to stay at the bottom where there's
At the
not that
bottom of the.
much smoke.
So what you're
At the
saying is
bottom of the smoke.
stay as close to the ground as you possibly can and crawl out
Stay
of the house.
and crawl out of the house, yes.
Okay. Anything?
You don't want to be walking out because you inhale so much smoke.
Okay. Okay. Anything else you'd like to share with us before I say goodbye to you?
We just want to urge parents that we know that we go to work, we have 1,000 of things that we do. But most fires that happen when there's only kids around. And during this time of the season, we lose so many kids. May we please, that just make sure that we let them know that heating devices should be removed. And if there are heaters on, they should be switched off, so that we take care and make sure that our kids are safe at all times.
Please, God, yes. That's all we pray for and hope for. That was Nana Lindiwe Kgiba. She is the Media Liaison Officer, Department of Public Safety, talking to us about safety in the home when a fire breaks out. Thank you indeed for your time. It is exactly 9:26. This is News and Views right here on Salam Media.